Of course, there is an objective reality. That is a trivially true fact. But just accepting that that is the case does not mean that it is therefore easy to get a grip on that reality. The big problem with reality is that we are active participants in that reality, and we are, as observers of that reality, part of that reality as well. That blurs a lot of issues. Every time we observe reality, we're not only observing ourselves, but we're also interacting with that with which we are observing. And if we interact with that which we are observing, we are making an impact on it, no matter how slight. So every act of observation is therefore fraught with difficulty. It has some inherent problems, that cause us to never be able to establish exactly, absolutely, what the truth of the matter may be about any observed phenomenon. So with regards to reality, yes, we can trivially state that reality is there and it is real, but there are certain limitations on what we can then say about the reality. Having said that, however, I do not feel that that is a reason for us to throw the towel into the ring and give up on reality. After all, it is possible for us to make observations about reality or parts of reality that other people can then confirm, which indicates that there is therefore a kernel of hard reality, of objective reality, that has a level of truth that cannot be denied. However, every time you try to zoom in on such a kernel of reality, the further you zoom in on it, the more it will become apparent that what you're looking at is not absolutely true. It's not absolutely definable, rather. You get into a position where reality becomes elusive, and so on and so forth. And yet, we have this dichotomy, apparent dichotomy, between this realization, the fact that you, no matter how hard you try, you cannot grasp the full objective reality of a situation, and yet we have this possibility to say things about reality that can then independently be verified by other observers. For example, facts such as evolution, for example, or that the Earth revolves around the Sun, those are facts that can be confirmed. So how do we balance this? How do we get around this apparent dichotomy? And I think the best way to do that is by thinking of it as an analogy. And this is an analogy that I like because it's crass, and I like that sort of thing. So imagine a situation where you've got two people sitting at a table, and on the table is a bucket containing an eel and an awful lot of snot. And the task set to the people is to take the eel and move it to the next table. So the first person rolls up his sleeves, sticks his hand into the bucket full of snot, and tries to grab the eel. And he grabs, and he grabs, and he grabs. And every time he thinks he's got the eel, it slips through his fingers again. And he just cannot get a hold on it. The second one looks at this and says, "Can I get a try?" And what he does is he picks up the bucket, snot, bucket, eel and everything, and takes it to the next table. The task was to bring the eel to the next table. It doesn't say you couldn't bring the bucket and you cannot bring the snot. And as the first person demonstrated, you can't just bring the eel to the table. But you can bring the eel to the table, as long as you're willing to accept that you have to carry the bucket and the snot as well. And that is, I think, how we can make statements, objective statements about reality. The earth does revolve around the sun. That is a fact and it cannot be denied. But don't go and start zooming in on that statement until words like earth, sun and revolve make no sense anymore, because then you're in that position where you're grappling for that eel and you're not going to achieve your task of finding anything out about reality. That's what I'd like to say, and I hope this makes some sort of sense. Thanks.